you run, I feel alright, and we'll feel alright, 'cause we'll work it out, yeah, we'll work it out. I'll be doing this if you ever doubt, till the love runs out, till the love runs out. I'll be your ghost, your game, your stadium. I'll be your 50,000, clapping like one. I feel alright, and I feel alright, 'cause I worked it out, yeah, I worked it out. I'll be doing this if you ever doubt, till the love runs out, till the love runs out. I've got my mind made up and I can't let go. I'm killing every second till it saves my soul. I'll be running till the love runs out, till the love runs out. And we'll start a fire and we'll shut it down, till the love runs out, till the love runs out.
Okay. You were kind of close to my area, just about. You was in, I think, in Tacoma, Georgia, recently with Ronnie McDowell and Jamie Fricke.
Yeah, that's been a while, but yeah, we were down there, and the show went really, really great. Of course, there's a lot of great fans down that way, especially down in those states. But yeah, I always enjoy working with Janie and Ronnie, and we get a chance to work with a lot of our friends through the year, and those two are really fun to work with.
Yeah, I had Ronnie on my show here, and he's very, very funny and all. And I kind of, I'm a diabetic, and kind of had to take a shot. And I was holding on. I said, "Oh, we got 5 more minutes," and we got 5 more minutes. I had to, Ronnie, I had to wait, and I had to run, and need to say I got sick. Come back. I said, "That's the most embarrassing."
How long you been a diabetic? Yeah.
But now, gosh, I got so many questions to ask you. But one I want to ask you. I know you slipped out the window at 15 years old to head to Nashville. Now, I got to ask. Now, I was 15 years. What was you thinking at that time? It was just, hey, I'm just going, instead of going west, you went to Nashville.
Well, I actually went to Memphis. I could have gotten on the other side of the interstate at Hitchhike to Nashville, and I might never have made it at that time. But I went to Memphis first, and that's kind of where it all began for me. It was down there the first few years. But well, I climbed out of the window and ran away from home to chase this dream because my father was very strict on music in the house, and he felt like I needed to be working all the time, and the heavy equipment business that he was in, and that I was to follow in his footsteps. And I knew at a very early age, Jerry, that I really and truly wanted music as my career, and I wanted to be a singer, an entertainer. And so I ran away from home in order to be able to have music in my life. So I did climb out of the back window at 15, and with 60 cents in my pocket. And I look around now in my life and at the things that I've been so blessed to achieve, and it all started with a quarter and, 2 quarters and a dime. And it just, I have to pinch myself every day. I almost have to pinch myself because I've been so blessed.
Well, back then you could hitchhike and people would pick you up back then.
Yeah, back then it was a little safer than I guess these days. But and I did a lot of walking too, though. I walked a few miles because not everybody would pick you up, and you had to sometimes wait quite a while for somebody to come along to give you that ride.
Yeah. Now, when you first started music, did you just start? When did you pick up the guitar and started playing? And when did you started saying, "I want to do music"? I know you was at 15 then, but before that.
Well, I always sang in my house, in my home there with my mom. She was a piano teacher and a great gospel singer, and she'd play the piano and sing, and I'd sit on the piano stool with her and sing along with her. And I developed that craving for music, hearing it in the house so much as a child growing up, that I knew pretty early on what I wanted, and I knew what made me feel good, and music made me feel really good. And then I got to listening to a few people like Roy Orbison and Johnny Cash and Charlie Rich, and uh, I said, "Wow, I like the way those guys sound. They're cool." And of course, back then, I always felt, well, if you can sing for a living, maybe you can get the pretty girls. So, not necessarily so, but I
Yep.
was pretty much a wallflower. But that's kind of how my craving for music started, was by my mom.
Well, in a lot of the interviews I've done so far, they said basically the same thing. It started out either with mom or in church, and things like that. Now, did they try to find you when you left at 15, or because of course back then they didn't have the cell phones and all the other things that they can track you down now with?
You mean my parents?
Yes, uh-huh.
I actually didn't see my parents for a long time. Saw
Oh,
my
well,
mom because she had divorced my dad and moved to the Memphis area, so I'd see her from time to time. But I really and truly uh, didn't see my dad for quite a few years.
yeah.
We were kind of estranged for the first part of my life, but we wound up able to mend fences and get back to normal
Well,
uh, after I started having some hit records. And
well, you've had a
but
lot
it
of records. What is it, 45 charted up on the Billboard Hot Countries, and like 14 reached number one. I mean, you've
well,
had a
we actually had 22 number ones.
one,
Um,
two,
we
uh,
had we had 14 in a row at one time. I think that's probably what you're talking about.
right.
But we had 22 total, and um, I don't really know how many top tens. I think maybe 30 or 40 top tens. But it was a very magical time in my life. I mean, it was just. I really and truly always felt that if I could just have one or two number one records or hit records, I could be completely satisfied, and I was. But I never dreamed it would turn into 22.
Well, get this thing back down for there. It, it just amazed me when I was reading a little bit on your history. And there you're a young boy with 60 cents in his pocket that, well, back then 60 cents could buy back maybe one meal or
Yeah,
two.
maybe.
But you're sleeping on the street and eating whatever leftovers and things like it that people had discarded and things. I mean, uh, did you dream at that time? You thinking, is it going away, or is it even more determined than ever?
I think it makes you more determined. And I've always believed, Jerry, that whatever you're going through in life is temporary. It'll change if you just hang on long enough. So if you're having a rough time, which I did back then, I kept believing and dreaming that it was temporary and that things would get better. And lo and behold, they did.
Yeah,
And it goes the other way too, that if you're having great times in your life and great things are happening, also garner those and hold those close to your heart, because there'll come times when things will get rough again. So, good or bad, it's temporary for a while, and things always. The only thing in life we can count on for sure is change. And
that
if you're having a rough day, hang on. There'll be a better one. And if you're having a good day, love it, because it might not be that way the next day. So uh, life
that
is a wonderful, wonderful thing, and I've learned so much. When I was homeless, that kind of prepared me for the business.
well, that it humbles you, doesn't it? Quite a bit.
Yes. Oh, oh, oh yeah.
Well, I know in 1985, you had a song come out, and I put that song on, and I mean, they would rush to the dance floor and grab their honeys that fooled around and fell in love.
Yeah.
Was very popular. It's a beautiful song, and when it's just amazing how in a big nightclub like that, you put on different music and how it affects people. And I got the scene where if I played real uppity, some of your uppity music like that towards the end,
Right.
I had to bring them back down because I mean, they're
Sure.
tired of us down.
Well, that's true. I mean, music affects your mood. I mean, you can be in the worst mood of the day and hear something that lifts you and makes you happy. And then the same thing, if you're happy, you can hear a sad song that'll bring you down pretty quick too. So music is an incredible thing. Uh, the power of it is just awesome.
When you first stepped out on the stage where you was seeing all these people out there, did it just make you quiver, or did your adrenaline just kick in?
Well, your adrenals always kick in, and that's why after a show, most entertainers will tell you they're exhausted. And why should they be? Because physically you didn't do a lot, but mentally you did
Right.
when you're on stage. So, the adrenals always would kick in. And, I've never been nervous. I'm only nervous when I'm doing like network TV and you only get one shot at it,
Right.
when you're live. But in concert, the audience is very forgiving. They love to see if you mess up, it's okay because they understand you're human, and I think it's okay to show that side of yourself when you're performing. But I never did really get nervous that much going out on stage to perform live. It's always when we were doing TV or doing videos.
Well, I tell you, I read another story on you, and I just thought that's so neat. Here you're a young man, and here comes two Cadillacs pulling up at a skating ring. Now, could Elvis skate?
That was one of the most magical nights of my life, Jerry. After running away from home, shortly after that, I was at a skating rink, and Cadillacs pull up, and Elvis gets out from behind the wheel of the lead car and walks over and invites me into the roller rink to skate with him. And that was the start of a friendship that lasted until the day he passed.
Yeah.
And he just took me under his wing. He taught me a lot about life, about religion. He was a very spiritual guy.
Hmm.
He actually used to sit and read me the scriptures from the Bible and tell me his interpretation of them. And I always respected him showing that side of himself to me and to the public.
Wow.
And so, meeting Elvis was he was my first person, the first person that actually believed in me enough to help me. He
Yeah.
actually bought me my first tour bus and gave it to me as a gift to kind of get me started.
Wow.
And what a gift. But the greatest gift he gave me was not material possessions, it was his friendship. I mean, it was an awesome thing to have someone give you their friendship, especially when you're Elvis Presley.
You really?
Uh, yeah, he was just so down to earth, so human, such a great human being.
Well, you
I
got to
miss
see a
him
side.
every day.
You got to see a side of him that no one else ever sees when you get that personal relationship there. And I never love it when you talk about him reading the Bible to you. Uh, that and I bet he had the best banana and peanut butter sandwiches, right?
Well, after we skated that first night we met, we went back to Graceland and had the famous peanut butter and banana sandwich. And of course, I had several because I was starving. But till this very day, that's still probably one of my favorite sandwiches because of that. And but he was just such a down to earth kind of guy. He was easy to talk to. He wasn't this huge star to me that everybody else saw. I mean, I would see that when I would see him on stage or be with him on tour. Um, but my great times with him was the private times, the conversations and the talks that we would have, just one on one, late at night or early mornings. And I just I miss that friend so much. He enters my thoughts every day.
Well, God puts people in our paths, no matter how famous or how big they are, sometimes
Yes, he
to give us
does. Yeah.
inspirations and guide.
Yes,
Now,
he does. Well,
did your wife write the day Elvis died? Did she write that or and
no,
sung it? And I think it was released in like two.
that was written by someone else, and it was just a song that for a long time I kept trying to find a song that would depict what actually happened that day. And
Right.
when I heard the song, I knew I had to record it because it said everything about that day that needed to be said. And I love doing that song in concert still now. We do it a lot in our acoustic shows, and we're doing quite a few of those now. And I invite anybody to go check out our tour schedule at tgsheppard.com. Come see our shows, whether it's an acoustic show or full band show, and follow us on YouTube and our socials on Facebook and Twitter and Instagram and YouTube. We have a great YouTube channel, but no,
Yeah, I went on your YouTube channel, listening to some of the songs, reminiscing back,
yeah,
and I noticed that you and your wife there had one out, "Addicted to You."
yeah. Now she wrote that song. It's on our new Chemistry album that was released a few months ago,
Uh
and
huh.
the duet project that she and I did. And of course, Kelly's a great singer and songwriter. Matter of fact, she just received a proclamation from Governor Lee here in Tennessee declaring a song that she wrote as the new Tennessee state song, which
Wow.
is quite an honor to have one of your songs adopted as a state song and called Under a Tennessee Moon. And you can hear it or keep up with her at kellylane.net. She's quite a talented woman. I'm very blessed to have her in my life.
She's a beautiful singer. I was listening to "Because You Love Me," and I love the pictures and it just taking them back to y'all's earlier and the ages and stuff together. And a
Yeah.
lot how neat that is beautiful.
And she's
And
easy on the eye, too. Wow. She's a beautiful lady.
she is, yes, she
Yeah.
is. I've looked at some of her videos that she had on there, some of the talk show videos that you and her were on,
Uh-huh.
and which has been many. I tell you what, you've been in more cameras and uh, interviews and all around the world, and it's really amazing and to follow people, just like yourself and Kelly, and that shows a little bit more to people that's out here that's becoming young people wanting to become musicians
Right.
and singers, that they certain things you got to look at. You got to look at your life. You got to look at your partner,
Yeah.
and and all that's got to come together to really make it work, doesn't it?
It is. And we've been fortunate to have had a lot of great opportunities on TV and being in front of the cameras because you can reach more people in front of a camera than you can doing a full year of concerts. Just one TV shot or one video or one interview. So we've been very fortunate to have a great PR team, and 2911 with Scott Sexton, who does a great job for us, and he opens a lot of doors for us doing interviews. But we've been very fortunate to have done some great stuff together on TV in front of the cameras.
Scott's great. He's one kind of I've got in contact with him, and he's introduced me to several folks from the Oak Ridge Boys, to some other
Yeah,
new artists up and stuff, and I just love it to get to meet even some of the younger ones that's going up and mentors like yourself and stuff. That some of them they'll say, says T.G. Sheppard. He's one that he told me this advice, and and that's and that to me they look upon you as a big star. And I mean, you're still going wide open. You hadn't slowed down any.
well, I love performing and I love touring, and so we'll continue it as long as I feel physically good, which I do. And but I really and truly I love live performance, and I guess I'm probably working more now than I've ever worked because there's come a point in my life now to where we have lost so many great singers and friends of mine the last few years. I mean, with people like Kenny Rogers and B.J. Thomas and McKee and gosh, the Mac Davis, the list goes on forever. So we're finally in an era of our life to where people are going, maybe I better go see him before before he leaves. Uh, but we do. We stay very busy, and I'm just as excited today about performing and living life as I was when I first started the career 50 years ago.
Well, I'll tell you what, my wife, she's looking at some of the videos and things I was showing, like she says, you know what? He ain't changed much from that many years ago. He said, gosh.
Well, I'm kind of a health nut. I've never been a big drinker or a boozer or a drugger. I've always tried to take care of myself and pace myself. I don't sleep as much as I should. I usually average about 6 hours a night, seven max. But I guess that's all I need. As you get older, you need less sleep. So
Yes, well,
maybe before too long, I won't have to go to bed anymore. I can just stay up all the time.
I sleep about 4 hours a
Really?
night ever since I was little.
Yeah.
I just can't sleep. My wife says, because your mind won't shut off.
Yeah, I have that same problem too. My mind keeps working at night when I lay down. And of course, I pray a lot. And so I spend a lot of time at night in prayer. And right before
That
going to sleep, I'll lay my head down and I will pray for people and thank God for what I have. And every day when I lay down at night, it's reminiscing my life over and over again and being thankful for it.
Well, that is great. I'm a Presbyterian minister. Been in the same church for about 18 years on this one, and and I know I do the same thing. It's nighttime's a great time. It's quiet,
Yes, right.
and I
No
knew that,
distractions.
and I knew that you ate healthy because I seen the video of Kelly fixing some avocado dip or something like that. That she was putting the lemon
Well,
juice and the oil and all these other things in there.
Kelly kind of keeps me going. She kind of makes me toe the mark, toe the line, and I don't think I could survive or even be here right now without her. I mean, it's just because it's only been just a few years ago, Jerry. A lot of people may not know this, but I actually got very ill, and my body went sepsis, and so I went to the hospital, and everything started shutting down, and I actually, that one day at Vanderbilt Hospital here in Nashville, I actually died 5 times, and
Wow.
they brought me back every time. And every time I would go away, Kelly would say, "Did you see anything? Did you see anybody you knew?" I told her one time, I said, "I think I bumped into Buddy Holly." And she just laughed. But no, I've had some real close calls, but I'm still here, and which tells me that God's not through with me yet. He's got maybe more for me to do, and so I just keep living every day to the fullest.
That's good because he's saying you get up there, we're not ready for you yet. Go back.
Yeah, that's right.
5 different
Yeah,
times.
very true.
Yeah, I know that Kelly has some health issues also, and that she's an advocate
Yeah,
for. My wife just went through uh, a half of a lung operation of cancer, and
well,
still getting better now. But
we went through the fire with Kelly.
yeah,
She got pretty much a death diagnosis, and we managed to get through it through the grace of God, and we live bigger and bolder now than we ever did before, especially her. But she's 20 years out now, and we are thankful each day for that day.
yeah. Well, y'all look great together. You sing great together. It's I just love going back and reminiscing a lot of your videos and your current ones also. Now, didn't you had one Partners in Rhyme?
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Uh, that to
That
me,
was a
I bet it was fun.
that that was a labor of love. I invited 17 artists to come and do duets, thinking, well, maybe 10 or 12 would show up. But they all answered the call, from Willie Nelson to Merle Haggard to George Jones to Willie Nelson to the Oak Ridge Boys to B.J. Thomas. I mean, you name it, they all said yes. And I wound
Wow.
up doing a Legendary Friends album of duets, and it's still to this day the one piece of work that validated me as a singer more than anything else, to have that many iconic people join me in the studio to record with me. And it was just an amazing feat. And it's out there somewhere if people want to look it up, Legendary Friends. And
Yes,
it's,
yes. I look up. Wow, that's some stars there. And we lived in the age from the cassette to 8 track, from
yeah.
that CDs and all, and albums and 45s. But the albums, it surprised me that here they come back. you know,
They have vinyls really come back big. I'm even thinking about doing some vinyl this year.
but you can't beat that sound. The sound, even the old albums got, and I play them. The sound is totally different, and it
There,
just people's catching the magic.
there's just something about taking a needle and setting it on a record that makes you appreciate the music even more. You don't just turn it on, you do something to make it happen. And of course, the liner notes and the photos and the album covers are there that you don't get on CDs or anywhere else. So, and I like to be informed of who was on the album and who the musicians were and who wrote the songs. And you get more information from a vinyl album where you have a more space to create and put everything on it. So to me, vinyl is very, very important.
Yeah, and I, and now, do you have your same band with you that you've had over the years, or you've got some different members, or?
No, I have basically the same guys through the years. We've managed to have the same guys that stuck around, and I've always felt if you take care of your musicians who make the magic happen for you, then they'll take care of you. So I'm very fortunate to have had the same guys for a long time.
Yeah. And I had to look up what TG stood for, and I laughed because because I was expecting some kind of crazy name in there, or got off of a coffee can. John Cafferty and Beaver Brown Band. I asked them. I said, "How'd you come up with your name?" They said, "Well, we locked ourselves in the garage and we stayed in there for hours and hours, and looked over, and there's a paint can called Beaver Brown, and that's where we got it from." But I looked yours up, and it doesn't mean nothing but just initials of just letters.
Well, people always like to put, a name with initials with me, and they've never really stood for anything, just initials. Because at the time that I assumed that name, my real name was Bill Browder. Initials were very big. You had B.J. Thomas, you had
Right.
C.W. McCall, you had initials were kind of the thing back then. Tom T. Hall, and so I thought, well, I'll just pick initials, and so I'm glad I did. It worked out pretty good.
It did, but I thought that was kind of funny in a way, because I was expecting this, just see something like Tom Jones and all that stuff there, but it it's amazing how I learn a lot from artists like yourself. I learn a lot that where people get the misperceptions that artists, when they come big like that, they kind of forget about the roots and the little people
Right.
and all this right here. But I find out from the artists, especially the older artists, that from the Oak Ridge Boys and all that and yourself, that you're humble. You're just like you said with Elvis. He was like your friend, and things, and take the time for people. And I think that's what really is your biggest success.
Well, I've always figured that I believe that your relationships in this business are the most important part, because after people quit screaming your name and the smoke clears, what's really going to mean the most to you when it's all said and done is your friends and your relationships, whether it be with friends, family, or with God. And I believe that that means more to me than success or fame or money. And so I've always treasured and took the time to be accessible to my friends and let them know how much I love them.
Well, I know you're a very busy man, and Scott told me to short time. and,
Yeah, I think
that
we're
you,
getting ready to do another one here in about 5 minutes. Yeah.
yes, I will let you go. What advice can you give very shortly to someone that's coming up in this business?
The same advice that Elvis gave me, Jerry, that if you ever forget where you came from, you're never going to get where you want to go. Always take the time to be kind and supportive and accessible to anyone who likes what you do. So just there's no room for ego. The ego is the poison that kills careers, and there's just no room for it. So that's the only advice I can give anyone coming in the business, that if you want to have a career and have longevity, which I'm so fortunate to still have, is just never forget where you came from.
Amen. Well, TJ, I really appreciate the interview, and one day we'll have to get back with you and get about this Give a Living Ruse reality
Yes.
show you had.
Ye-
Because I thought that's
Yes.
pretty good also. But you have a wonderful day, and thank you again for allowing this boy out here in this little small town of Union, South Carolina, let people here locally know that who you are and a little bit about you. And we'll
Well, I
pray continue.
appreciate you, Jerry. I like what you do. I love your demeanor. I look forward to maybe visiting with you again sometime. But I do appreciate today. I really do, and I hope to see you again soon.
Thank you, sir, and God bless you and Kelly.
Thank you.
I'll be your light, your match, your burning sun. I'll be the bright and black that's making you